Over the last year's time frame, I personally have invested around $28,500 into SPYI, or the NEOS S&P 500 High Income ETF. Now this is simply because as a more dividend income focused investor that still wants some upside potential later on, SPYI, because of the unique strategy this ETF has, it sort of seems to offer the best of both worlds, at least at first glance. Now in this video, we're going to dig into SPYI, and I'm going to share with you guys why I'm so bullish on this ETF, and at least why I think this ETF is going to do very, very well long term. I'm also going to share with you exactly how much SPYI is currently paying me in income on a monthly basis, and exactly if it was a good investment or a bad investment, at least as of right now, and I'm talking about my $28,500 investment. So if you're a dividend income focused investor that either holds onto this one or maybe have considered it, make sure to stick around, drop a like down below, and let's get right into it. Real quick, for those that haven't already, make sure to go to the first link in my description and grab my new dividend investing ebook, where I share exactly how I went from $0 invested to now earning over $6,000 on a monthly basis and over $1 million invested in the markets. Along with the ebook, you're also going to receive my custom dividend tracker, where you can track your dividend progress on an ongoing basis and reach your dividend investing goals. So make sure to grab yourself a copy of my dividend investing ebook and the new dividend tracker today. It's the first link in my description. Now, just to go over some of the basics, I know I've talked about SPYI on my channel before. I'm honestly still sort of obsessed with this one, but for those that don't know already, this ETF pays a distribution every single month, which of course I love. It has an expense ratio of 0.68%, which is kind of crazy, but because of this ETF strategy and the management, I think could be worth it. The distribution yield is around 12.3%, which is massive, and that's especially if this is an ETF that at least hopefully is not going to decay over time. Now, I said in the intro that this ETF strategy is really what sucked me in. It seems to sort of offer the best of both worlds when it comes to income and upside potential. And it says right here the targeted benefits of SPYI strategy. It says number one, the fund seeks to distribute high monthly income generated from investing in the constituents of the S&P 500 index and implementing a data-driven call option strategy. Number two, though, actively managed by NEOS, which is important. The fund seeks to take advantage of tax loss harvesting opportunities in addition to utilizing SPX index options classified as Section 1256 contracts, which are subject to lower 60/40 tax rates. So far it seems like a covered call ETF that's going to utilize the S&P and a call option strategy, which I like. And on top of that, this is going to be an actively managed fund that's going to try to be rather tax efficient at that. Now lastly, it says the fund uses a call option strategy that may include both sold and purchased SPX options, which may provide the opportunity for upside capture in rising equity markets. Now this is probably my favorite part about this fund. Honestly, this is what I've talked about in videos before. I like the fact that SPYI does have the potential to move up in price, because although this ETF might sell options, it also potentially might buy some, which means when most covered call ETFs are sort of capped as far as upside goes, SPYI could break through and see some upside on top of that. Now, digging a little bit deeper into SPYI, at least as of filming this video right now, this ETF is down around 0.83% in the 1 year. Year to date, though, it is up around 1.47%. So year to date, it is actually green somehow, some way. On the max time frame, it's basically flat, though. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, not necessarily a good thing. Honestly, if I can buy into a covered call style income focused ETF that's going to trade sideways over time and pay me around 10, 11, 12% yield, I'm not really going to be complaining whatsoever. Because of the collar on the upside, a lot of them do seem to trade either sideways or down over time. Now, it might be too early to tell, but over the last 2 years at least, SPYI, even within some of the market craziness, this ETF is basically flat. So like I said, not necessarily a bad thing whatsoever. Now, digging into SPYI's actual income potential and what it's paid so far, every single month, more or less, this ETF is paid anywhere from around 47 cents upwards to 51 cents on a monthly basis, which is definitely a significant amount of income, especially for an ETF that costs around $50 per share. And one thing that I like, one thing that keeps me motivated at least, about buying a share or two of SPYI is that every single time I go into the market, log into my portfolio and buy another share, it's almost like I'm guaranteed, more or less, of course, theoretically, a 50-cent distribution that next month, which is awesome. And those 50-cent distributions definitely add up over time. Like I said, I've spent so far in the last year or so around $28,500 on this single ETF. Which, for those of you guys that are wondering, because I currently have around 580 shares of SPYI across my multiple portfolios as of right now, and keep in mind I'm still buying more and more shares basically every single day, I do want to get to around 1,000 shares. But because as of right now I do have around 580 shares and SPYI pays around 50 cents per share per month, that means that as of right now I'm earning around $290 in income every single month from this single ETF. Now that also means that every single month as of right now, I could purchase around 6 more shares of SPYI if I were to drip those dividends into more shares, which of course those 6 shares are also going to pay me 50 cents per share per month. So that means that with those 6 shares, I'm also getting an increase of around $3 every single month, of course going off of previous numbers. Now, because dividend income is important to me, and because as of right now, I'm trying to build out a long-term portfolio that's not only going to sustain all my expenses in the future, but also more than that, having some high quality, more income focused ETFs like SPYI and others in my portfolio is something that I'm still very interested in. But I think it's also important to say and also important to note that if you do want some massive upside exposure, if you want to make much more than say 10-12% per year, which again, I think we all do deep down, maybe some of these covered call style, more income focused ETFs might not be the perfect tool for you, but having them in your portfolio, having them as a tool in your arsenal is not bad whatsoever. Now, but I think it's even more important to see over the last 1.95 years how SPYI has actually performed over this time frame. With a $10,000 investment and dividends reinvested, of course, SPYI would have returned over this time frame around 23%, or an average annual total return of around 11.23%, which honestly I don't think any one of us can complain about. Earning around 11% per year is not bad whatsoever, and that's again why I'm very bullish on this ETF, because although it hasn't been trading for that long, during the time frame it has traded in, even with some massive dips here and there, the ETF has held up pretty good. Now, over that same time frame, if you were to have spent your dividends along the way, this ETF still would have had an average annual total return of around 9.99%, which still isn't horrible in my opinion. So over the last few years, because my average cost is around $48 more or less, somewhere in the 48s, with SPYI, have I actually made money last year or have I lost money? Well, as far as price return goes, not including any of the income, I'm probably more or less flat, maybe even down a tad. But because of those massive 50-cent more or less distributions that I've been receiving for every single share I own across my portfolios, month after month after month, SPYI's distributions have definitely made up for the lack of price return over the last year that I've held onto it. Now, for those reasons and more, like I said, I'm going to continue to buy more and more of SPYI, dollar cost average down a little bit more aggressively when the ETF is down in price. But honestly, because of how this ETF has performed now historically over the last 2 years, and because of this ETF strategy, I'm super excited to see what the NEOS team can make of this ETF in the next year or so. So because SPYI more or less pays around 50 cents per share for every single share that you have on an ongoing monthly basis, more or less of course. Every single day, if across my portfolios, I'm able to buy, say, 2 to 3, maybe 4 shares of SPYI on average, that's adding between $1 to $2 per day of forward monthly income to my overall dividend portfolio every single day that I purchase, let's say, 2 to 4 shares. Now, if I were to be able to do that over a month time frame, if I'm able to add, let's say, 2 to 4 shares every single day, every single trading day that is, I'm going to be able to add $20, $30, $40 of forward monthly dividend income on a monthly basis, all along while having potential upside on top of that. And that's even though a lot of these covered call style ETFs don't have all that much potential upside. Like we've seen with JEPQ, it's definitely possible. And with SPYI strategy, I think it's also going to be very possible. We're going to see some upside as far as price return goes. But either way, like I said, even if this ETF trades sideways, I'm still happy. So now that we went over SPYI, if or if not I actually made money in the last year or so, and how much I'm currently earning per month with my around $28,500 investment in it, I now lastly want to hear from you guys down below. Is SPYI a high income ETF that you have in your portfolio right now? And if not, what is a higher dividend yield, higher income focused ETF that you absolutely can't stop buying? Let us know in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to please drop a like on it and subscribe for more future content like this. Thanks as always for stopping by, and if you are interested in investing, make sure to check out these recent videos I posted right here.